Welcome to Policing TV, and I am delighted to be joined here by Commissioner Sigríður Guðjónsdóttir, who is the Commissioner of Police for the Icelandic Police Service. Commissioner Guðjónsdóttir, thank you so much for joining us here on Policing TV.
Thank you for the invitation, Bernard.
Our pleasure. We're going to start with looking at a little bit of history, acknowledging first you are the first female commissioner of the Icelandic Police. And we're going to start by understanding what it was, please. What was it that led you to join the police and forge a career in policing in Iceland?
Yes, thank you. That's a very interesting question. I have a little bit unusual career because I'm a lawyer by profession, by education, and I always wanted to work within the European Union. I really believed that Iceland should join, we should be part of the European Union, and that was my main goal. But I got sidetracked because I was providing for my family. Me and my husband, we had our first child very young. And so I was making extra money when I was studying in Denmark for European studies, and I was making extra money by writing tax articles and on taxation. I had been working there for a few years. So then, as I was sitting in Copenhagen, studying in Copenhagen's University about EU law, I got sidetracked because I got an offer to be a tax commissioner in a small town in Iceland. And of course I said yes. I had never been there actually. It's called Ísafjörður. If you know what Iceland looks like, it's the hand. It's very, very northwest. It's really, I'm not saying remote, but at that time it took maybe 11 hours to drive there when it was in the winter time. So suddenly we were there in a small town. And I was a tax commissioner, and I just absolutely loved to service the community. And I learned a lot, and I learned that I had to face my clients. You know, I had to go and meet them at the store. I had to meet them at the airport, etc. So I think I was, we adjusted quite well in the community, and it did not. It helped also that my husband is a pastor, so he was the nice part of our marriage. So. What happens then is that I got restless again. He became a priest in Sweden, so I went to Sweden as well, and studying EU law again, a master at Lund University in Sweden. So I was always going on the EU track, as you can hear. I always had it as a side event, a side plan. And then I got a call as well where I was being not pressured, but people came to me, as politicians say. I was approached by people and to apply for a job, which was a district commissioner, where part of that commission was police, customs. I could also marry people, divorce them. Not very nice, but that was part of the job, and all kinds of things, collection of taxes. We were like
this back in Iceland.
Yeah, it was really, really a small area where basically we had to do everything except the taxes. I had already done that, so I was doing the other stuff as a representative of the state in the district. Let's say that. So, and what happened is I completely fell in love with the policing part. It just somehow appealed to me. I was very much on it. It was the most interesting part. And when I had been working there for a few years, I got a proposition from my then Minister of Justice to come and work as a Deputy National Commissioner and to establish a new department, National Security Department. National Security, yeah. So I did that and became a Deputy National Commissioner after that. And then I applied because then my husband had moved to another part of the country. We're near the airport, in the airport district. So I followed him there and I became a commissioner of the airport police. And then I was the first female to be just the police commissioner, not with everything else. So it was a bigger district.
It's quite a fascinating career development there. Multiple countries for one.
Yes,
Moving with your husband, a pastor, to various locations, some of them more remote than others. I imagine Reykjavik and then to the airport, and then time as I think I'm right in saying the commissioner for Reykjavik prior to
yes,
becoming the commissioner. So, and falling in love with policing
yes,
on that
yes.
journey. What was it about policing before we come on to your time as commissioner for Reykjavik?
Yeah.
And then we'll come on to your time as commissioner for the country. What was it about policing that you fell in love with?
I think it was the service part. I'm a servant leader, and I found that we were so important for the district, for the people in the country. And police often get negatively viewed as being forceful, use of power, etc. But I see it quite differently. I see police as a service organization. And we need to understand our clients to be able to give them service, like outside in, not inside out. Not what I want to do for you, but what you want us to do for you. And that means that even when we are using force, we are still providing a service. We are making people safe from threat. And I found that in our job, we matter. People are motivated by different issues. Some are motivated by money, motivated by power. I always choose people that are motivated by the service, to feel that you do something that is important for society.
So in the time prior to your becoming commissioner for the national police, so whether at the airport or for the capital Reykjavik, did you find resistance amongst those already in policing to the ideas that you were putting forward and what it was that you were looking to achieve for it sounds to me as if it's quite a specific philosophy about providing a service rather than providing force, if you like. Did you find that resistance amongst those police officers already serving in the
This is
police
actually a
force?
very good question. When I was a commissioner of the airport police, which is a very interesting district, we developed a new method for domestic violence, and we were looking at victims. Took the first human trafficking case in Iceland, and the new method for domestic violence, where we listened to our clients, we tried to find out where the hindrances was, and it was really effective. It meant that before, about 20% of all reported violent acts within the families, within family relations, or the how the definition of domestic violence, it's a little bit different between countries. So it can be one that's connected, a spouse at that, which is most often the reason for the violence. And it was about 20% of all reported violence. And when we changed our method, it was about 50%. Not an actual increase, but because we knew how to provide the service. We understood the circle of violence, how to apply it. And I did not get any hindrance in my job there or any problems. It just went very well. But then the minister at that time decided to move me to be head of the Metropolitan Police, of Reykjavik Police. And I met a lot of hindrances. It was basically about 3 years where I had to fight every day to try and get things done my way. For example, I started out by wearing a black shirt because that's how our people on the ground are dressed, while we had the superiors that were wearing white shirts. I don't believe in that. I was not on the top floor where all the leaders were, seniors. I was on the ground floor where my people were. So I came with a different attitude, and the service attitude, and not, and for example, domestic violence. At that time, some of the people didn't really believe that it was just a family issue. We shouldn't be handling it like real police priority, which of course it should be, because half of our manslaughters are actually domestic violence. So it's a really serious offense, and we should treat it like that. So I had quite a lot of resistance there, but that was only for the first years. It was very vocal, it was very personal, so I had quite a lot of problems, but I managed to do it. But that's because my superpower is to choose good people with me, people that are better than me, people that really, really are motivated by the reasons to do good things, not motivated by their ego.
Well, it sounds like you've got more than one superpower, because
That's my only superpower, to choose good people.
well, you've already, I think, described more than one to me, which I'll come back to in a second. But so choosing the right people to work with you is clearly key. You've also described the signals or symbols about where you are within the organization. You changed the color of your shirt, for example, so that the color of the shirt was those of the can we call them the rank and file rather than the top of the house. You chose your office in a different location. So these sound quite small things, but you've mentioned them. So they sound actually also quite important. Do you think with hindsight they were important?
They were. I didn't understand at the time how important they were, but I think the most important part was that I don't believe in an organogram that is very, very steep. I believe in a flat organization, basically because of the time frame. If you have a really steep organogram, then it takes so much time for information to flow and decision making to happen. So it slows everything down. And the world is so fast. That's one of our biggest challenges. So I think that was, in retrospect, the most important part. And also, I took the police union, with me on everything. Everything was open. So it was not hidden. We took the discussions, we took the debates, we talked to the people. And, and that was the most important part, to treat people with respect that they deserve, because it is a very important job to be a police officer. And it's a great vocation, and people need both respect, but they also need support for that.
So, Commissioner Guðjónsdóttir, we've talked about the time leading up to your becoming commissioner. We're going to call this a halt to this first video. We're going to move on shortly and record the second video that's going to focus on your time, I think roughly the last 5 years as commissioner, the first female commissioner of the Icelandic Police. And we're going to focus on what it is that you and your colleagues have achieved in that time. But for the time being, for this first video, Commissioner, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.